From up-and-comers who left us too soon to all-time great character actors to legends of the Golden Age, 2024 has seen the passing of a wealth of notable performers. Two-time Tony winner Chita Rivera died on January 30th from an undisclosed illness at the age of 91. The beloved actor, singer, dancer was the originator of several beloved stage roles, including Anita in West Side Story, Aurora in Kiss of the Spider Woman, and Velma Kelly in Chicago. Though she was mostly known for her theatrical performances, Rivera did venture into film and TV. She reprised her stage role of Nikki in Sweet Charity for the 1969 film adaptation, and she also had cameos in the movie versions of Chicago in 2002 and Tick Tick Boom in 2021. On the small screen, she was part of the cast of the new Dick Van Dyke Show, and she had a scattering of guest appearances on various other shows. Rivera was one of musical theater's most legendary performers and is often cited by younger generations as a formative inspiration. In addition to her 2 acting Tonys, she won 2 Drama Desk Awards, a Kennedy Center Honor, the Presidential Medal of Freedom, and a 3rd Tony for Lifetime Achievement. After an acting career that spanned 7 decades, Glynis Johns died on January 4th from natural causes at age 100. She's probably best known to American audiences as Sister Suffragette Winifred Banks in Mary Poppins, but she'd already established a fruitful career on stage and screen, beginning with her breakout role in the 1942 British war drama 49th Parallel. Johns' other memorable films included Miranda and the Sundowners, the latter of which earned her an Academy Award nomination. On TV, she was the star of the sitcom Glynis, and she also appeared on shows like Batman and Cheers. On stage, she originated the role of Desiree Armfeldt in the Stephen Sondheim musical A Little Night Music. Sondheim wrote one of the show's songs, Send in the Clowns, specifically for Johns, and it went on to become one of the biggest hits of his career. She also won a Tony for the role in 1973. Following an unpublicized diagnosis of appendix cancer, Adan Canto died on January 8th at the age of 42. The Mexican-born actor was preparing to return to his main cast role as a mobster in the Fox crime drama The Cleaning Lady, which began shooting its 3rd season in December 2023.
Adan Canto's on The Cleaning Lady? Count me in. Well, that's cool.
Canto's fascination with film began at age 7, when he was an extra in the 1992 movie Like Water for Chocolate, which was filmed in his home city of Ciudad Acuña. At the age of 16, he pursued music in Mexico City, where he would act in commercials while playing at local bars. He was eventually cast in Mexican TV shows, which led to work in American productions. His notable credits included Sunspot in X-Men: Days of Future Past, and a main cast gig on Designated Survivor. Canto had just begun dabbling in directing as well. His short film The Shot played at a variety of festivals in 2020 and won several awards, including the Jury Prize at the San Antonio Film Festival. David Soul, the latter half of the beloved TV detective duo Starsky and Hutch, was 80 when he died on January 4th. The specific cause wasn't disclosed, but it was known that he'd had a lung removed due to cancer. Soul began his acting career in the mid-60s as he appeared on shows like Here Come the Brides and Star Trek before hitting it big with Starsky and Hutch, which aired from 1975 to 1979. As Ken Hutch Hutchinson, Soul brought a balanced Midwestern demeanor to one of TV's most memorable on-screen pairings. Outside of acting, Soul also had a notable music career. In 1977, his single Don't Give Up on Us went to #1 on both the Billboard Top 100 and the UK Singles Chart. He would go on to release 5 albums, while also continuing to act in film, TV, and theater until 2013. Best known as Apollo Creed in the Rocky movies, Carl Weathers died at the age of 76 on February 2nd from natural causes brought upon by heart disease. He was beloved for his decades of warm and confident performances. Prior to his work on screen, Weathers was an accomplished athlete as he played college football for the San Diego State Aztecs and had a short professional stint for the Oakland Raiders. In 1987, Weathers starred opposite Arnold Schwarzenegger in the beloved sci-fi thriller Predator, and he had main roles on TV shows like In the Heat of the Night and Chicago Justice. Weathers also had a knack for comedy, in the likes of the Adam Sandler golf comedy Happy Gilmore and on the sitcom Arrested Development, on which he played a fictionalized version of himself.
Baby, you got a stew going.
Weathers' later career was most notable for his entrance into the Star Wars universe as Greef Karga on The Mandalorian. He received his first ever Emmy nomination for that role and also directed 2 episodes of the series. On February 27th, comedian Richard Lewis died peacefully in his sleep following a heart attack. Despite having been diagnosed with Parkinson's disease 3 years earlier, that was only noted as a secondary cause of death. He was 76. Lewis began performing stand-up comedy in the 70s and quickly became known for his anxious, neurotic style. He would often dress in all black and pace back and forth on stage while flailing his hands around and openly discussing difficult topics like alcoholism and drug abuse. He gained a significant degree after becoming a mainstay on several popular late-night shows. Following his Parkinson's diagnosis, he retired from stand-up to focus on writing and acting. After co-starring on the sitcom Anything But Love alongside Jamie Lee Curtis, Lewis then led the short-lived shows Daddy Dearest and Hiller and Diller. However, his most notable TV role was a semi-fictionalized version of himself alongside Larry David on the long-running HBO sitcom Curb Your Enthusiasm. He also made his presence felt on the big screen, most notably in the Mel Brooks parody Robin Hood, Men in Tights, and the Nicolas Cage starring drama Leaving Las Vegas. On March 19th, legendary character actor Emmet Walsh died of a heart attack at the age of 88 in his home state of Vermont. Walsh broke through to film audiences in 1984 after starring in the Coen brothers' directorial debut, Blood Simple, which earned him a Film Independent Spirit Award for Best Male Lead.
If it's right and it's legal, I'll do it.
Before Blood Simple, Walsh had already delivered memorable turns in films like The Jerk and Blade Runner. Afterward, he pumped out a resume of well over 100 credits in movies that ranged from the 1986 sci-fi horror comedy Critters to the 2019 whodunit Knives Out. His memorable TV credits include Tales from the Crypt and The Righteous Gemstones. Despite his extensive on-screen history, Walsh remained an under-the-radar talent who was never really a household name. Nevertheless, he was beloved by plenty of die-hard cinephiles, and in fact, he was part of the inspiration behind Roger Ebert's Stanton-Walsh rule, which held that no movie featuring either Harry Dean Stanton or Emmet Walsh in a supporting role can be altogether bad. In one of the year's most shocking developments, up-and-coming star Chance Perdomo died after a motorcycle accident on March 30th. At 27 years old, Perdomo was best known as Ambrose Spellman, cousin and best friend to the title witch on Netflix's Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. At the time of his death, he was starring as Andre Anderson, a student with the ability to manipulate magnetic force on Prime Video's Gen V, a spin-off of The Boys. Production on the series' upcoming second season was delayed following the news of his death, but ultimately picked back up a few months later after the decision was made not to recast his character.
Andre, he doesn't want anything to do with that. Like, he's a charmer, he's a slacker, and he doesn't want any responsibility whatsoever.
Perdomo grew up in Southampton, England, and eventually moved to London to pursue acting. He trained at the Identity School of Acting, whose other notable alumni include John Boyega and Letitia Wright. By 2018, at the age of 22, Perdomo had already been nominated for a BAFTA for his work on the TV movie Killed by My Debt, which told the real-life story of a young gig economy worker who kills himself after accruing inescapable debt from traffic violations. Groundbreaking performer Louis Gossett Jr. passed away on March 29th at the age of 87. In 1983, he made history when he became the first black man to win an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor. That award-winning role was a hard-nosed drill instructor in An Officer and a Gentleman. His authority over a bunch of white recruits was quite striking for the time period. Gossett was also a civil rights activist who, after meeting Nelson Mandela in the 1990s, founded the Eracism Foundation to help foster a world in which racism no longer exists. Gossett's acting career began like a rocket after a basketball injury led to him discovering theater, as he earned a role in the 1953 Broadway production of Take a Giant Step. At just 16 years old, he began what would become an illustrious stage career, which included acting opposite Sidney Poitier in A Raisin in the Sun in 1959 and Sammy Davis Jr. in Golden Boy in 1964. Gossett transitioned to Hollywood in the 60s and made a memorable turn as Fiddler in the beloved TV miniseries Roots in 1977. His final film roles included 2023's musical adaptation of The Color Purple and a voice part in the May 2024 fantasy adventure film If.
It's lightning in a bottle. It's beautiful.
After a career spanning the latter half of the 20th century, Barbara Rush died on March 31st at the age of 97. She'd been diagnosed with dementia and was residing in an assisted living facility in Los Angeles. She was probably best known for her co-starring role in the 1953 sci-fi horror flick It Came from Outer Space. She played Ellen Fields, a teacher who, along with her aspiring astronomer boyfriend, witnesses an alien spaceship crash onto Earth. Rush garnered plenty of success while acting opposite a series of popular leading men, including Rock Hudson in Magnificent Obsession, Dean Martin in The Young Lions, Frank Sinatra in Come Blow Your Horn, and Paul Newman in The Young Philadelphians. Though Rush was often pigeonholed as an innocent lady or supportive wife, she always brought an elegance to each and every one of her performances. On the small screen, she had recurring roles on the soap operas Peyton Place and All My Children, as well as the popular WB drama Seventh Heaven. On the stage, she was featured in productions of The Night of the Iguana, Steel Magnolias, and her solo show, A Woman of Independent Means. Amidst the many media frenzies surrounding retired football player O.J. Simpson, it's easy to forget that he also had a successful acting career. Well before he died at the age of 76 from prostate cancer on April 10th, his professional athletic career took off with the Buffalo Bills in 1969, after he was selected as the first pick in that year's NFL draft. He appeared in commercials for Hertz, but his biggest on-screen spotlight came in the spoof The Naked Gun movies. He played Detective Nordberg, the seemingly invincible best friend and former partner to Leslie Nielsen's boneheaded Lieutenant Frank Drebin. Despite that comic highlight, most of Simpson's acting career consisted of more dramatic roles, from violent crime flicks like Firepower and No Place to Hide to the disaster thriller The Cassandra Crossing. Simpson was also interested in tackling the topic of race as he appeared on the seminal miniseries Roots, an episode of In the Heat of the Night, and the 1974 film The Klansman, in which he played an innocent black man accused of murdering a white woman. Simpson was eventually set to star in his own series, a Navy SEAL action drama entitled Frogmen, but then in 1994, he was charged with the murders of his ex-wife Nicole Brown Simpson and her friend Ron Goldman. Despite eventually being acquitted, the trial forever marred his reputation and put his acting career on permanent ice. Days after suddenly canceling a planned appearance at Comic-Con Liverpool in May, actor Bernard Hill died for undisclosed reasons at the age of 79. Hill is best known for his roles as King Theoden in the Lord of the Rings trilogy, as well as the honorable ship captain Edward Smith in Titanic. That makes Hill the only actor who has appeared in 2 of the 3 films that hold the record for winning 11 Academy Awards. Raised working class in Manchester, his breakthrough role was the Liverpudlian Yosser Hughes in the 1980 TV movie Black Stuff and its 1982 miniseries successor, Boys from the Black Stuff. His character became such a phenomenon that his catchphrase, "Giz a job," or "give us a job" in Liverpudlian slang, became a slogan for protests against a rising unemployment rate across England during the reign of Margaret Thatcher. Other on-screen credits include films like Gandhi, The Scorpion King, and Paranorman, as well as the second season of BBC series The Responder, which premiered mere hours after his death. Legendary Hollywood actor James Earl Jones died in September at the age of 93. From iconic film characters such as Darth Vader and Mufasa to his voiceover work for CNN, Jones's versatile baritone made him instantly recognizable and immensely popular.
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
Jones's work far exceeded his vocal chops too. Notable screen credits include reclusive writer Terrence Mann in Field of Dreams, African King Jaffe Joffer in the Eddie Murphy vehicle Coming to America, and CIA Deputy Director James Greer across the Jack Ryan franchise. Jones was most frequently lauded for his work on stage, however. He was nominated for 4 Tonys and won twice, with perhaps his most notable role being that of Troy Maxon in August Wilson's seminal play Fences. His other stage credits include The Gin Game and Driving Miss Daisy, as well as many works by William Shakespeare, such as King Lear and Macbeth. One of the great on-screen dames, Maggie Smith died in September at the age of 89. Despite beginning her on-screen career in the 1950s, Smith's extensive repertoire of beloved roles kept her a popular talent across multiple generations. The older crowd may know her as Desdemona in the Laurence Olivier-led film version of Othello, for example, or the titular teacher in the 1969 film adaptation of The Prime of Miss Jean Brodie. Both roles garnered Smith Oscar nominations, and the latter earned her a win. Millennials likely recognize Smith as an elderly Wendy in Hook, or as Mother Superior opposite Whoopi Goldberg in Sister Act. Nowadays, though, her biggest claims to fame are twofold, as Professor Minerva McGonagall in the Harry Potter films and Dowager Countess Violet Crawley in the British drama series Downton Abbey.
Oh, do you think I might have a drink? Oh, I'm so sorry. I thought you were a waiter.
Smith also enjoyed a notable stage career, performing in works by Noel Coward and Tom Stoppard, among others, and earning a Tony and 6 Evening Standard Awards. After what was described as a series of short illnesses, Beloved comedian Bob Newhart passed away in July at the age of 94. At first a humble accountant from Illinois, Newhart became an overnight sensation after his debut comedy album, The Button-Down Mind of Bob Newhart, became the first in the genre to top what is now the Billboard Top 200. Newhart's dry delivery and one-sided telephone calls made him a breakout success, leading to a fruitful career in stand-up and television. In the 1970s, Newhart starred in The Bob Newhart Show, in which he played psychologist Bob Hartley. The show is frequently cited as one of the all-time great sitcoms and garnered Newhart 2 Golden Globe nominations. A follow-up series, Newhart, earned Newhart 3 Emmy nominations and made headlines over its shocking finale, in which it is implied the entire series was nothing more than a dream.
That settles it. No more Japanese food before you go to bed.
Newhart would appear in a number of other television institutions over the years, from Desperate Housewives to The Big Bang Theory, with the latter earning him a Primetime Emmy for his turn as Arthur Jeffries, aka Professor Proton. Beyond that, Newhart was inducted into the Television Academy Hall of Fame, received a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, and was only the 5th comedian to be awarded the Mark Twain Prize for American Humor. Few actors have enjoyed a career as illustrious as that of Donald Sutherland, who died in mid-June at the age of 88. Originally from Canada, Sutherland moved to London for drama school, soon becoming one of Hollywood's most reliable, dry-witted character actors. His breakout came in the form of back-to-back-to-back war romps, The Dirty Dozen, Kelly's Heroes, and MASH, the movie that inspired the immensely popular television series of the same name.
I think you will find these accommodating. They're quite dry.
MASH earned 5 nominations at the Academy Awards, winning one for Best Adapted Screenplay. This would be the first of many Oscar-winning films featuring Sutherland, despite never being nominated himself. Some of these productions include Clute, Ordinary People, and JFK. Sutherland himself was awarded an honorary Oscar in 2017. Meanwhile, the actor's most well-known modern film role was that of President Coriolanus Snow, the primary antagonist of the Hunger Games series. Sutherland was working right up until the end, too. His final performance as Judge Parker in Lawman, Bass Reeves, aired in 2023. Shelley Duvall died in July at the age of 75 due to complications from diabetes. The Texas native became a breakout star in the 70s and 80s thanks to 6 back-to-back collaborations with director Robert Altman. Duvall's turn as Millie in Altman's thriller 3 Women won her Best Actress at the Cannes Film Festival, while her role as Wendy Torrance in The Shining is regarded as one of horror's most iconic performances.
Here's Johnny!
On the flip side, she also produced and starred in several fantasy shows for children, such as Fairy Tale Theater and Shelley Duvall's Bedtime Stories. After the 90s, Duvall retired from acting in what many perceived as a response to mental health difficulties, following an intense experience working with Shining director Stanley Kubrick. However, it was later revealed that she'd moved back to Texas for unrelated reasons. Duvall actually looked back fondly on her time making The Shining, and she even returned to acting prior to her death with a small role in 2023's The Forest Hills. Though Kris Kristofferson was better known for his country music hits, he also had a successful acting career. The Texas-born songwriter had already topped the Billboard charts before being cast in his first movie, The Last Movie, in 1971. Kristofferson was able to earn acting gigs after industry officials saw him open for Linda Ronstadt at the legendary Los Angeles venue, The Troubadour. One of those people was Sam Peckinpah, the legendary Western director who cast Kristofferson and his then-wife, fellow country icon Rita Coolidge, in 1973's Pat Garrett and Billy the Kid. Kristofferson's performance as Billy would be nominated for the Most Promising Newcomer BAFTA the following year.
Why don't you kill him?
Why? He's my friend.
From there, Kristofferson's acting prestige only grew. He starred opposite Ellen Burstyn in Alice Doesn't Live Here Anymore, Martin Scorsese's breakout film, and then featured opposite Barbra Streisand in the 1976 remake of A Star is Born, for which he won a Golden Globe. Other notable credits include Heaven's Gate, Tim Burton's remake of Planet of the Apes, and the Blade franchise. Kristofferson retired from performing, both on stage and screen, in 2021. He died in late September at the age of 88. Following a nearly 10-year battle with breast cancer, television actress Shannen Doherty died in July at the age of 53. Doherty's career began as a child actress on shows such as Little House on the Prairie and Our House, before skyrocketing as series regular Brenda Walsh in teen soap opera Beverly Hills 90210. Doherty starred on the show for 4 seasons, although 90210 would remain a staple of television for 10 years, and later offshoots and reboots would see Doherty reprise the role of Brenda. Doherty's other notable performances included Heather Duke in the 90s cult comedy Heathers, Renee and Kevin Smith's Mall Mallrats, and Prue Halliwell in the hit series Charmed. Before her death, she was most active in hosting her autobiographical podcast, Let's Be Clear with Shannen Doherty, in which she would often candidly discuss her cancer journey while reconnecting with previous collaborators and co-stars. In August, acclaimed dramatic actress Gena Rowlands died at the age of 94. Though a cause of death was not provided, she had been living with Alzheimer's disease for the previous 5 years. Rowlands is most well known for her powerhouse performances in a span of acclaimed dramas, most notably her collaborations with her husband, director John Cassavetes. The couple made 10 films together, most of which featured Rowlands as a troubled woman put through intense interpersonal adversity. 2 of these performances, one in 1974's A Woman Under the Influence and another in Gloria in 1980, earned her Oscar nominations. Though she won on neither occasion, Rowlands was awarded an honorary Oscar in 2015. Most modern film fans might recognize Rowlands as the elderly, present-day Allie in The Notebook, in which she performed a character with dementia 14 years prior to her own diagnosis.
Do you think our love could take us away together?
Rowlands also appeared in several television series, including Monk, which earned her one of her 8 Emmy nominations. Following an illustrious but often underappreciated career, Rowlands retired from Hollywood in 2015. Few horror icons have a smaller resume than David Emge, who passed away in January at the age of 77. It only took one movie for the actor to be enshrined in movie-making legend, however. George Romero's Dawn of the Dead, the sequel to the revolutionary horror thriller Night of the Living Dead, and a classic in its own right.
When there's no more room in hell, the dead will walk the earth.
Emge's portrayal of pilot-turned-zombie Flyboy quickly became one of the genre's definitive depictions of an undead creature. Emge's acting career began at the University of Evansville, where he became a jack-of-all-trades in the school's theater program. After serving in Vietnam, Emge began working in dinner theater. He had garnered a few limited screen credits when Romero called him to star in Dawn of the Dead. Emge followed up that movie with just 2 more credits, the horror films Basket Case 2 and Hellmaster. Nevertheless, he remained a horror icon up until his death. Fans would clamor for his autograph at horror conventions around the world, and Simon Pegg, co-writer of acclaimed horror parody Shaun of the Dead, was inspired by Emge's character when working on his own film.
How's that for a slice of fried gold?
Yeah, boy!
French actor Alain Delon was one of classic cinema's most revered leading men and an international icon. Born in the wealthy suburbs of Paris, Delon was discovered by a talent agent while strolling the streets of the Cannes Film Festival. It was his dashing good looks that earned him his breakout role in Purple Noon, an adaptation of Patricia Highsmith's 1955 novel, The Talented Mr. Ripley. After that, Delon embarked on a sprawling career in which he worked with some of Europe's greatest filmmakers. Many of his most well-known credits have since been included in the Criterion Collection, a widely regarded and comprehensive collection of world cinema's greatest works. Though the subject of controversy on more than one occasion, Delon was awarded an honorary Palme d'Or at the 2019 Cannes Film Festival for his contributions to cinema. Delon's health had been in steady decline since a stroke that same year. He died in August at the age of 88. In February, British stage and screen actor Michael Culver died at the age of 85. Though he had a long-spanning career in film, theater, and television, Culver's most memorable appearance was arguably his turn as Captain Needa in The Empire Strikes Back. Needa is famously choked to death by Darth Vader after allowing for Han Solo to escape the Empire's clutches, leading to one of Vader's more memorable lines from the franchise.
Apology accepted, Captain Needa.
By the time he starred in Empire, Culver was already an established theater actor in Britain, having performed Shakespeare at the illustrious Old Vic Theatre before making his debuts on Broadway and the West End. His notable film appearances include A Passage to India and uncredited roles in From Russia with Love and Thunderball. Culver quit acting in the early 2000s and committed himself to political activism, specifically voicing his staunch opposition to Britain's role in the Iraq War. Western audiences may not recognize the name Cheng Pei Pei, but fans of martial arts films will know when to salute a legend. The Chinese actress, who died in July at the age of 78, became a fixture of East Asian cinema and one of the most prominent female kung fu stars of all time. Born in Shanghai and trained in ballet, Cheng eventually moved to Hong Kong and signed a contract with the Shaw Brothers, the seminal action producers behind a record number of martial arts films, including Cheng's 1966 breakout, Come Drink With Me. Following a steady career in Hong Kong, Cheng moved to California and ironically, retired from making movies, deciding instead to attend business school and raise a family of 4. She returned to acting in the late 80s, however, and hit a new peak of stardom after playing the villainous Jade Fox in 2000's Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. Ang Lee's quintessential wuxia film became an unusually big hit in the United States, grossing over $200 million at the box office and winning 4 Academy Awards. From there, her career continued across numerous Chinese dramas and action films, as well as some stateside releases. Vintage TV fans took a blow in April when Spencer Milligan, star of the original Land of the Lost series, died at the age of 86. The Illinois native played Rick Marshall, father to Will and Holly Marshall on the show, which follows the family trio after a rafting accident gets them sent into an alternate universe in which dinosaurs roam the Earth.
Isn't he cute?
He may be cute, Holly, but he's still a dinosaur, and that makes him dangerous.
Known for its boundary-pushing special effects, the series became a hit, but Milligan only stayed with the show for 2 seasons, later blaming his departure on a financial dispute over profits from the show's merchandising. Much of Milligan's later life was spent away from Hollywood. He relocated to Sturgeon Bay, Wisconsin shortly after his stint on Land of the Lost, and utilizing his professional training from mentors Lee Strasberg and Joan Darling, became involved in the area's community theater scene. He was also a mainstay on the convention circuit, where fans often showed him appreciation for his part in the TV show that made his name. Soap opera veteran Marla Adams died in April at the age of 85. Though not a household name, fans of daytime television will remember her as matriarch Dina across several years of beloved television series The Young and the Restless. Adams was only on the series for 3 years to begin with. However, she returned multiple times across 25 years, including in 2017, when she took on a recurring role.
This is your family now. Keep them safe.
Adams appeared on several other soap operas too, including General Hospital, The Bold and the Beautiful, and Days of Our Lives, among others. Before her debut on the silver screen, she had debuted on Broadway opposite Alfred Lunt in The Visit, a role she'd earned shortly after graduating from drama school in New York. Adams' career was capped in 2021 when she was awarded her first and only Daytime Emmy, the culmination of a long and prosperous career. Movie fans had only just been reacquainted with John Ashton before he died in late September. The actor, who was 76, was best known as Sergeant John Taggart in the hit movie franchise Beverly Hills Cop. He had just reprised the role for the series' legacy sequel, Axel F., which debuted on Netflix in July and now marks his final role.
Sarge, can I ask you something personal?
No.
Born in Massachusetts but raised in Connecticut, Ashton began acting as a child and graduated from the theater program at the University of Southern California. He performed in a number of productions across his career, including the South Coast Repertory Theater's take on Sam Shepard's True West in 1981. His career in film and television began in the 70s, with notable guest appearances on television shows such as Police Squad and MASH. Some of his more notable film credits include Midnight Run and Gone Baby Gone, both of which cemented his status as the go-to talent for a no-nonsense lawman. In May, character actor Dabney Coleman died at the age of 92. Though casual viewers may not know him by name, they will recognize his iconic look from a number of deliciously detestable antagonists in sitcoms such as Mary Hartman, and iconic comedy films like 9 to 5 and Tootsie. Born in Austin, Texas, Coleman served in the U.S. Army for 2 years before meeting Mildred Pierce star Zachary Scott. Inspired by his memorable personality, he decided to enroll in acting school. By the early 60s, he had begun to appear across a variety of popular television shows. Coleman's role as a salacious Merle Jeter in Mary Hartman, paved the way for many more curmudgeonly, love-to-hate-them roles in classic movies and TV shows. Disney fans will also recognize his voice as the aptly named Principal Prickly across the animated Recess franchise. Later in his career, Coleman became associated with serious dramatic work in shows such as Boardwalk Empire and Yellowstone.
Dad told me so.
Only took 90 years.
He is the recipient of a Golden Globe, a Primetime Emmy, 2 Screen Actors Guild Awards, and a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. In news that sent shockwaves across Broadway, musical theater actor Gavin Creel died in September at the age of 48. A 3-time Tony nominee, Creel's beloved library of lovable performances spanned the globe, from his breakout work in Thoroughly Modern Millie to Broadway revivals of Hair and La Cage aux Folles, and his Olivier Award-winning West End turn as Elder Price in The Book of Mormon. In 2017, he took home his first and only Tony for his portrayal of Cornelius in the smash hit Broadway revival of Hello, Dolly opposite Bette Midler. Creel had a few television credits to his name, and he was also a studio musician, releasing 2 albums and an EP. Outside of theater, his greatest work was his activism. He was a co-founder of Broadway Impact, a grassroots organization which helped spread awareness about the fight for marriage equality within the theater community in 2009. Character actor Bill Cobbs was 90 when he died of natural causes in July. Though not a marquee name in Hollywood, he was a fixture in film and television for over 50 years. After enjoying a successful stage career, Cobbs began to appear on screen in the 1970s. From there, he took over 200 credits in film and TV, ranging from Trading Places to The Sopranos to Sesame Street. Cobbs' most well-known role is most likely that of security guard Reginald in the Night at the Museum movies, opposite Dick Van Dyke and Mickey Rooney.